Hey guys, what is going on? So today, this is the start of my kind of Sorare video diary. Um, I've been playing around with Sorare for on and off for like the last year. So recently, got a bit of a bug. I started playing a lot of colours during the World Cup. And I've been watching more and more content creators. So this has kind of not inspired me, but kind of led me to kind of document my journey, see what you can do as a new player of Sorare, and this is kind of what we are working with at the moment. You can see 2 years ago I kind of played around with the Belgian Limited League, trying to go all in on a club stack. Didn't really know what I was doing, probably overpaid, but it was a kind of learning experience for me to kind of start and see what the game is about. Didn't try anything with what would it be, Sorare 25, the year in between. But then just before the MLS break, I started picking up some of the New England Revolution players. Matt Turner, really like him as a keeper. And then I just started looking through, and you had a couple of consistent performers like Mamadou Fofana and Al Hassan Youssef. So I just started picking players up and going from there. Obviously, the World Cup struck, so MLS players kind of plummeted in value, which allowed me to pick up some of these players really cheap. Players like Mamadou Fofana have now, if I load into him, kind of increased in value by a little piece. So like £24 bids, £16 bids, £21 bids, versus like the £10 I paid for him. Everything is going to be in pounds on this. I am from Wales, if it wasn't made obvious from my username or my accent. And I know a lot of people play in dollars. Just for my peace of mind, this is easier. And, this is all about how easily can a new player get into Sorare, so this is how I want to do it. But yeah, we kind of went all in on a stack from New England Revolution. Ile Fengol doesn't really play a lot, so then we end up picking up Cole Bassett as his replacement, just a nice young player who I thought could make a bit of a contribution. Obviously, bit of a spoiler alert, but you can see our crafted player from yesterday, Milan Ilowski, which is a really nice kind of crafting success that I had. And then this is kind of the new layout is so confusing to me, and this is someone telling you how easy you can get into it, but we managed to hit some sort of limited streak. It was the first streak for the MLS. Cole Bassett didn't have a great scoring week. However, I think now, given who New England got next week, I could probably have a bit of success. So, New England Revolution. They are away to Montreal, so that's a very winnable game for New England. And obviously, they've just signed Jack Harrison as well. Basically, the plan was when I started this like 3-4 months ago with the MLS is get to grips with the game, play limited on the MLS side of things before the new season. And the plan was to get a Spurs team. Thinking Spurs had a terrible season last year. Well, the last 2 years, let's be honest. And I thought player values would be low. So that was the original plan, and I was going to kind of pick up like your under the radar players. But then Spurs decided to find their wallet down the back of the sofa. So we had to change our plans a little bit. Luckily, Sorare kind of went along with me. So you can see the Eredivisie just launched, but the one I'm probably targeting this year is this. The English Second Division League. So it's been added into Sorare from what I understand. I think when I looked at some historical cards, there's championship cards from like the 23-24 season. But that's going to kind of be my little niche that I'm going to enter, and I'm going to do that kind of in two ways. Using the success that kind of experimenting with New England went for me, I'm going to kind of target a rare team using my local team, which is Cardiff City. Now, Cardiff have just been promoted from League One. They went up automatically in second place. And this is what we are looking at with the Cardiff team, to the point where even the official club website don't actually have any photos for any of the players. But essentially, what I want to do is take the New England recipe, apply it to Cardiff, and I think my first rare team in Sorare 27 is going to be a starting lineup of players that I watch on a regular basis. It makes it easier for me to track. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan, but Cardiff is a much easier team for me to travel to. So it'll be a Nathan Trott goalkeeper card, probably a Chambers or Dylan Lawler defender, and potentially Joe Bagan. And then we'd be looking along the lines of Alec Robertson, Ruben Colwell, and of course for Starman up top, Yusuf Salek. Now, Cardiff are expected to have the best season, and based off our transfer record to date, it's going to be a struggle. However, what I'm going for is leaderboard, with the idea that one good game week, much like with New England, should be enough to get me by. And this has kind of been replicated with the success I've had with New England, and this has allowed me to craft Milan Ilowski, who, and the kind of the basis of the thinking of me playing Sorare next upcoming season is kind of pick up rare essence where I can, and then kind of craft to kind of develop kind of a club, and end up having more and more success. The other thing I'm going to do is, because the Championship is a league I know quite well, I'm going to try and target the players. Obviously, this is market dependent, who I think are going to go under the radar, which is everyone's goal in Sorare, which I get. But players who have left, say, the Spurs Academy, who I know have got a really good future. So, like, Will Lankshire's just gone to Middlesbrough for £14 million. That is a player that I'm going to be targeting. Maybe as like a big sign-in for like my second string team. Alfie Devine, I think he actually has cards on early access for like £5 at the moment. So he's a card that I would want to use. And try and go that budget championship, but be as competitive as I can, and basically rely on the fact that not a lot of people are going to be as clued up on the championship as can be. I think a lot of people will probably target like your Southamptons, your Wrexhams, the kind of the upper echelon clubs, where I definitely think there's going to be value in like the lower half of the table, strong performing players. So obviously, Streaks is going to be a difficult one to enter with my Cardiff team, and I can't really get any of the rewards up. Well, actually, I can, because Sorare published it all to their blog, didn't they? So if I go Sorare English 2nd Division, and then they did publish it somewhere. Was it on the blog where I saw it? It was basically telling us, like, here we go, price pools. So when I go down to the English competitions, I think personally that hitting streaks with like a Cardiff City team is going to be nigh on impossible. You know, they might have the odd game week where they do rather well, but more than often than not, it's going to be draws or losses. So I think the general plan is to enter the Cardiff team into leaderboards, and then try and basically rely on Cardiff having a good result and using the rewards from that. And then second of all, I'd be entering kind of like my under the radar teams into streaks. So that would be where I can try and spot like players who have jumped down from the Premier League to the Championship, and basically rely on the entire market not really existing. So the only people who, you know, when you look at Eredivisie coming up now, right? There are players there that I know from, say, Football Manager, or people know from previous seasons of Sorare, but you can look at and go, right, he's going to score 56 on average in the last 10 games because he has a history of last season. I think the way I'm going to kind of attack this English 2nd Division is kind of try and use footballing brain rather than Sorare brain, if that makes sense. So I'm going to try and go for players who I think are going to exceed at their clubs and haven't actually got any sort of history whatsoever. It might not work, and, you know, like I said, this is kind of like a new player's insight into Sorare 27, and there's going to be people who probably play this game religiously for the last 5-6 years who go, this guy has no idea what he's talking about, and you're right, I don't, but that's the entire point of this video diary. So yeah, we've had some success with the MLS. We're going for the next kind of streak now. I can never remember where anything is, but, you know, Alowski kind of helps us into our next streak. which would be what, like 1,500 or 2,000 essence, which is like another 2 players to craft or a player with some hints. And then who knows, if we hit that 25 and start hitting that 420, if New England start playing, that could also be income coming in towards funding championship moves. And yeah, but long story short, I'm trying to use what I've done for the last 3-4 months to replicate that with Cardiff City. What players I'm going to sign, that's going to completely depend on what the market looks like. I think there's going to be some real sleeper picks there. Like, I don't think Robertson's going to have a high value. I don't think Colwell's going to have a high value. Ollie Tanner for Duels 1, I don't think is going to have a high value. So it's a case of seeing what the market looks like when it comes out, but that's the goal. And to help me do that, I've created like a really rough spreadsheet. Kind of lets me see what I've spent since, April. So you can see the kind of values I've paid for these players. If I want to sell any of them for profit, it gives me an idea of what kind of money I've made on them, which I know Sorare tells me what I bought them for, but this lets me see like whether I'm up or down. And then a little nice and easy spreadsheet just to track the rewards I've had and a rough insight to their value. So I know from the initial £50 investment, I've recouped about £12.50 so far. Anyone that watches Sorare right now or watches regular Sorare content or even plays Sorare is probably thinking this guy is absolutely clueless. So if you do have any tips or tricks or anything to suggest on how I can kind of do things a little bit better, how you would kind of tweak a championship approach. I know Cardiff City is not going to be the most profitable of purchases, but it's a little bit of fun and it's something that I know and I'm hoping I can get, like I said, those sleeper picks. But yeah, if you are kind of like a Sorare veteran or an expert, drop some tips, drop anything you think would potentially help me. And if you want to kind of follow me along for the adventure, drop a like and a subscribe, and I'll be doing kind of weekly recaps of how my season's going. It could go dreadfully, and this could be the funniest channel for you to watch on Sorare, or we could absolutely fluke one and Cardiff are in the top 6 by Christmas, which would be win-win. But yeah, drop a like and subscribe, and then who knows, when the Premier League cards come out, we still might have a look at that Tottenham sleeper picks, but with players like Tonali, Fernandes, Van Hecke coming in, I don't think that kind of value spot is going to be there for now, and I'm not trying to come into this as kind of like a whale, just dumping a load of money onto Sorare. I'm coming into it as kind of like an everyday person. I'm in the middle of a house move, so I can't really spend too much money, but let's just see how it goes, what the market looks like, and I'll try and document as much as I can. But yeah, leave your thoughts below, drop a like and subscribe like I said, and I'll put a link to my Twitch in the description, where I kind of just play general sports video games and stream kind of whatever I'm playing video game wise on Twitch. And if you're into more video game side of content, feel free to drop me a like and I will see you there too. But yeah, thank you for watching guys, peace out.